Hey.
Today we are unboxing the Neca It from Chapter 2. Now, for any of you that haven't seen the It series, there is a difference between Chapter 1's It and Chapter 2's It, and we'll go into a little bit of detail on the differences once we get into the figure. Now, before we tear this bad boy open, what are your hopes for it?
I just hope it's got enough detail to do it justice, because in the movies they put a lot of detail into his character. So if it looks kind of cartoonish, it's not going to be one of my favorites.
You know, I agree, but Neca's pretty good about detail. The one thing that I want, and I can tell you it's not in there because they never do, is it needs a stand.
Forgot about that.
But I guarantee you right now it won't be in there. The other thing that I would love to see on this figure, because the clothes are big and baggy and kind of parachutey, I'd love to see actual cloth on him. But knowing it...
Because it's Neca, probably won't have it.
Right, knowing Neca, it probably won't be. So I think that's about it. It's a pretty simple figure. Let's get into this and tell you what it's all about. There we go. Even my wife's got the magic. What can I say? We're a magic family. Now, I'm going to let you go first. Ladies first.
Where to start? Should I start with complaints or should I start with what I like?
Let's start with positive, so we don't scare our viewers away.
Okay. Well, the positive is I like the fact that he can hold the balloon, because when we unboxed or took it out, the balloon was not attached to the hand. But he's able to hold the balloon, and if y'all have seen the movie, one of the creepy scenes is when he's standing there behind the red balloons, and if you see a red balloon, it's always a bad sign in that movie. I changed this face because it's one of my favorites. It's got a lot of the detail. I like the scary teeth, and it looks a lot like him. My other thing is I like the variety of heads, especially the other one. That's my favorite, is the one with the tongue.
Gene Simmons' tongue.
I think my least favorite would be the one where he's not as make-upped up and doesn't have the crown hair. There's only one scene in the movie in Beverly's house when he doesn't have all the makeup on. It's not one of my favorite scenes. What do you think is positive?
So I do love the fact that there's so many different hands that comes with this figure. The reason that I like there's so many hands is because it gives you the chance to pose the figure differently. So if, say, your friends has Neca Pennywise, then they can pose theirs different than yours. And coming from collectors, we love showing our collections off to our fans. And that's why we're actually kind of doing this channel, is because we wanted to show our collection off to you guys. So I love the fact that it's got multiple hands. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3 hands for the right, and it looks like we've got 4 hands for the left. Which, that's always been weird to me.
I see 1, 2, 3 for the left. And
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 for the right.
So reverse that. 4 for the right, 3 for the left. I find it weird that they couldn't give you 4 for the left, 4 for the right. But I digress. It gives you multiple hands to do multiple poses with. I do love the fact that it gives you 4 different heads. Like Stevie said, the one that we have on him is our favorite head because of the teeth. I do have to say my second favorite would have to be the tongue, followed by his normal face, and then of course his human face. What the actor actually looks like. So the head from the movie shows the actor's actual face as he's applying makeup onto himself, and they just kind of reversed it to look like he's peeling it off. Really cool effect, but him as a person isn't scary. In fact, that's why they had him every time he was around the kids was in the makeup.
Well, anybody that can move their eyes like that naturally or do that with their lip in person is still kind of creepy, whether he's got makeup or not.
Yeah, see, I disagree. But that's the great thing about this channel. We can disagree on things like that. But I do have to say that now. Let's go ahead and get into the negatives. I'll start.
There's a lot of them.
Or I wouldn't say a lot, alright? I don't like the fact that the outfit is entirely plastic. Again, I understand NECA, lower end collectibles, but as you will see next week, we have an Annabelle unboxing, and a little bit of a spoiler. There's fabric in there. So I don't see why they can't do it to all their figures, especially like this where it's supposed to be baggy. I think it just adds heft to it, and it looks wrong. I mean, here it just looks like he's got a fat ass.
It's awfully flat in the back instead of poofy.
Right.
So it's like bus driver butts when you've been sitting too long.
You know, with actual clothes, it could be done to where it sags more, and it's not. It doesn't look as solid. The balloon, I love the idea behind the balloon. The only problem, and if you own this figure, you will notice that our string is considerably shorter. It's because to push it through his hand, the white coating that goes around the wire to hold up the balloon, the coating was actually getting rolled up. It wasn't going through the hand, which is great. You want a tight fit.
They didn't make the hole big enough to fit it in the first place.
But they need just a little bit of stretching of that hole in order to get the white to go through the hand without stripping it. So we did strip a little bit. We didn't like the fact that the wire was showing or hanging there, so we did end up cutting it. Now that is another thing. You can cut the wire wherever you want it. So if you want the balloon sitting way up here, you can. If you want the balloon to be closer to his hand, like he holds it in the video or the movie.
It does also bend, so you can kind of make it a little wavy, you know, where this one won't stay up really. That's one of my complaints. Like, you can bend it any way you want, so it's kind of looks like it's kind of glowing, or.
So you can pose it how you like to kind of make it look different. Again, I love the uniqueness of the figures where you can do multiple different things. Now, no base.
Nope.
NECA, are you ignoring me? I need a base, and I don't want to have to pay extra for it.
Drop the base.
It's all about the base.
If it wasn't copywritten, you'd be hearing that song right now. But it is, so you're not.
Another one of my complaints is this is the second figure we've unboxed that it seems like one legger is longer than the other.
One legger. One legger is longer, folks.
Yeah. One leg is longer than the other. They all seem to kind of stand at an angle, kind of slanted. Like he won't stand straight up because this leg seems a little bit shorter. And with no stand or anything, the only way to get him to stay standing up is if he's kind of leaning to the side. I guess with this figure, it kind of works out because he's never standing up straight in the movie to begin with. But with the fact that we've had more than one from NECA that are kind of tilted, I think they need to do a little better on measuring the legs out before they just box it up.
Again, we understand that NECA is the lower end collectibles, but come on. It's the little things that make the figure. So yeah, I agree with Stevie. And before you guys throw it in the comments, it's not that we have a knee bent somewhere or a camera trick. It's legit. The two legs are not the same size. Now, unlike the alien that we did last week, or xenomorph if you will, the angles actually rock on this pretty good. It gives you quite a direction, or quite a range of motion if you will. The articulation is definitely better than the xenomorph. There is more bending where you can bend the knee, you can twist the foot, you can bend the ankle.
To me, they're also a little stiff, but I guess that means they'll just stay the way you pose it because it's not loose.
Absolutely. You know, you can turn the waist. If you wanted to do, you know, something like this, you could definitely do something like this. Have a backwards Pennywise.
It bends on the right underneath the waist too. Underneath his baggy shorts, if you may, his legs actually move there too. Kind of like a Barbie doll does, you know, if you're trying to make her sick. But
So he does have quite a bit more range of motion than the Xenomorph does. So I do like that. I am glad that Neca's not just going completely, solid figures, more statuesque, because I love the uniqueness of the Neca figures, so we can pose them.
I don't know. Another one of my complaints I just found out is it looks like the arms will be able to bend at the elbow. This one, it doesn't want to bend, and I feel like I'm going to break it because it's just kind of stuck. I don't know if you agree. I can't get his arm to bend at the elbow. And
because it looks
like it should, but it sounds like it's going to pop off and break if I try to bend it. So I
am in 100% agreement with Stevie. It looks like it should. It feels like it should. But
it's just not doing
if you put enough force into it, it really does feel like it's going to break. And the knees, and that's what you saw me doing a minute ago, the knees are almost identical. I mean, if you look back here, there's two joints that looks like the knee can bend, giving him an actual knee. But when you go to move it, up, maybe you just have to force it. Yeah, that's exactly it. You have to force it.
I guess if you're not afraid to break it, you can force it.
So, see? Whee! Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. That it does seem... Go ahead, let's just fucking break it!
Almost. His arm will pop off there. It is a ball joint that I can see. So I think the sleeve is getting in the way because, again, it's not fabric, it's hard plastic. And that's what's getting in the way of it bending is that hard plastic. If it was fabric, it would bend with no problem. I can already see that, but...
as much shit as we gave 2B, I really have to say that her flexibility on those joints are just awesome. And I guess the softness of her skin does... Ooh, she's breaking the shit. But gives it the illusion of no joints. So I guess, that is one cool thing about 2B. Now, what she was showing here is this does come off. You can see kind of an elongated neck. Now, if you wanted to, because Pennywise is another one of those horror monsters, you could legit just take this off and leave it off, and it has a longer neck to go with the head.
Well, if you take it off, he looks a lot more like, kind of like the soldier when he was going after Ben as a kid in the library, walking down the stairs, if you know what I'm talking about, the headless guy. Had kind of a similar uniform on, should I say, but was missing his head and didn't have the frill. It was just the buttons on the kind of burnt uniform.
So, again, more uniqueness of the figures. So I love that.
If y'all are wondering what I keep looking at, two of the heads have numbers underneath them for some reason. This one has a 1. This one has a 3. But then these ones don't have numbers. So, there's the 2. So the heads apparently have numbers under them. This is a 4.
So, my wife apparently is so observant that she had to find the one thing that has nothing to do with anything else. As she breaks it.
No.
Mike, while she's doing this, why don't you give us your opinion behind the camera?
So from here, it looks fairly cool. Like it would be a cool statue just to stand up there. It looks like the articulation's pretty shitty.
But still better than the Xenomorph.
True. Yeah.
Whoops.
And I think the balloon should have came in a hand, like, attached instead of just loose.
I agree.
Yeah.
Stevie said that too as we were doing it. It definitely should. So what we're going to do at this point is let's go ahead while Stevie continues to play with it. Let's jump into grading it. So, ladies first, what do you think?
As much as I like Pennywise and I like the movies, I think I'm going to have to go just 3 thumbs up. Just because there is a lot of issues we found with it. I'm pretty upset that the balloon was so difficult because I was most excited about him being able to hold the balloon. And we had to alter it to get it to work. So, and there's no stand. And, if you put him in certain poses, what I was saying is there's a scene where he's dancing and leaning forward coming at Beverly. But if you try to put him in the scene where he's kind of dancing leaning forward, he just falls right over.
Again, needs
No
a stand. All right, so
I'll say
3.
3.
3 out of 5 thumbs. Mike, what do you give it?
2. Solid 2.
Okay. 2 thumbs. I'm gonna have to say, with all the accessories that comes with it, the multiple heads, the multiple hands, the balloon, I'm gonna have to give it 3 as well. If it didn't come with all the accessories, I would have definitely given it a 2, just because the clothing should have been fabric. Period. The stand, period. And the joints are just so solid, which great for putting him in a stance and he stays there. But getting him there, you're afraid of breaking him, and hell, we probably did.
Almost. His arm almost popped off. When I did that, I had to pop it back in, if you saw that.
So I think that the joint shouldn't have been so tight, but it is what it is.
So what David's saying is he doesn't like the tag.
Anyways, on that note, thanks for playing with us.
See you later.
Next time, take the fucking hit!